Hello YouTube, please like and subscribe if you enjoy my material. I'm going to try another new segment here. I'm actually going to start recording full-length videos. I do have to get some kind of stand that will hold that, and hopefully I'll rig something up. I don't feel like spending a bunch of time editing videos. If anybody feels like editing videos, we could start a channel together. You're definitely welcome to join this, and we will rename it Smoking Politics with Jeff Niblock and you. And Freya Dog, if we still have Freya Dog videos, she's always going to wind up on camera. Anyway, I am not, I didn't feel like putting my veil on, although my veil is probably something I'm going to start wearing. I'm still brushing this mop of mine. I am growing it out just to see. I want to do something different, you know. And we've been traveling and just living how we want to live. I mean, I have specific things I have to take care of every day to take care of the two of us, and when we're traveling, you know, I got to make sure to keep everything traveling, book us places, and we know where we're going. But this is going to be my new thing, recording on here, and this is another new segment. I'm going to find news articles and see, like this one, the article actually has somebody reading it. I haven't tried listening to it, but I'm going to read it, and it's probably going to be lengthy because I'm going to comment on it. But this is the article I thought was so interesting. This is called Lindsey Halligan here. This is written by a reporter. I don't know if she calls herself a reporter or a newswoman. I don't know what she calls herself, but excellent. I saw her in interviews. Her name is Anna Bauer. Excellent on the interview, and I assume her article is excellent. Well, what? I might as well just read the article because I know the basic gist, but I'm dying to know, and I'm going to read it as I read it to you. I haven't read it yet. So it says, Lindsey Halligan here. My signal exchange with the interim U.S. attorney about the Letitia James grand jury. And for some reason, I'm super dry, so I'm going to... I've been talking too much, and I'm stuffed up, and I have a toothache, all kinds of things. And I took some Sudafed, and it between that and weed, it's definitely dried me out. And I definitely need some more weed too, so. And I'm so glad if you're on my channel. I like and subscribe. If you ask me to talk about anything, I'll talk about it. If you want to get on the channel and talk to me, I'll talk to you. I've already had some pretty good discussions. And by the way, tomorrow I might even have my buddy Clayton on. Clayton's much younger than I am. We worked together at AutoZone. We became good buddies. And he's probably going to help me dump my sewage using my new tank tomorrow. So, like I say, a little bit of RV stuff, a little bit of product stuff. I don't know, whatever works. Throwing, if I was more of a Trump fan, I'd be like, I'm throwing ketchup and spaghetti against the wall, because I guess when the riot wasn't working, when the riot that he created wasn't working and he wasn't going to retain control of the White House, man, the story was he was super pissed. I don't know if people remember this stuff, but he was super pissed and he threw something on the wall, and there was ketchup running down the wall in the Oval Office or the whatever dining room next to it, wherever he was watching the riots while he did nothing for almost 3 hours. So new segment. Reading you articles. It was 1:20 p.m. on the afternoon of Saturday, October 11th. I was lounging in my pajamas, idly scrolling through Netflix, having spent the morning reading news stories, occasionally tweeting and watching TV. It was a rare day off. Then my phone lit up with a notification. I glanced down at the message. Lindsey Halligan here, it began. Lindsey Halligan, the top prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, was texting me. As it turned out, she was texting me about a criminal case she is pursuing against one of the president's perceived political enemies, New York Attorney General Letitia James. So began my 2-day text correspondence with the woman President Donald Trump had installed, in no small part to bring the very prosecution she was now discussing with me by text message. Over the next 33 hours, Halligan texted me again, and again, and again, and again. Excuse me. Through the whole of our correspondence, however, there is something Halligan never said. She never said a word suggesting that she was not on the record. It's not uncommon for federal prosecutors to communicate with the press, both through formal channels and sometimes informally. My exchange with Halligan, however, was highly unusual in a number of respects. She initiated a conversation with me, a reporter she barely knew, to discuss an ongoing prosecution that she is personally handling. She mostly criticized my reporting, or more precisely, my summary of someone else's reporting. But several of her messages contained language that touched on grand jury matters, even as she insisted that she could not reveal such information, which is protected from disclosure by prosecutors under federal law. As a legal journalist covering the Justice Department, I had never encountered anything quite like my exchange with Halligan. Neither had my editor. Over the last several days, he and I spoke with multiple former federal officials and journalists who cover the justice system. None could recall a similar instance in which a sitting U.S. attorney reached out to chastise a reporter about matters concerning grand jury testimony in an active case. By the way, this is right off it's right off Lawfare. So that's the website, lawfaremedia.org. And this is, again, Anna, I'm so bad with names, Anna Bauer. Beautiful writing. So, never concerning grand jury testimony in an active case. Justice Department spokeswoman Natalie Baldassar confirmed the authenticity of the text at 4:34 p.m. today, responding to my questions about the exchange with a statement that read in its entirety. So this is the spokeswoman for the Justice Department responds, "You clearly didn't get the response you wanted, which was information handed over to you without having to dig into the facts of the case to craft a truthful story, so you thought you'd tattletale to main justice. Lindsey Halligan," they spelled her name incorrectly, "was attempting to point you to facts, not gossip. But when clarifying that she would adhere to the rule of law and not disclose grand jury information, you threatened to leak an entire conversation. Good luck ever getting anyone to talk to you when you publish their texts." So that was the response from the Justice Department spokesperson. After I reached out to the department for comment on Halligan's texts, Halligan texted me yet again for the first time in several days, insisting that our entire correspondence had been off the record. Our full exchange, linked below, allows readers to make their own judgments on that question. Ooh, I really look forward to the exchange. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole article. I might skip to the exchange. As with many Trump world stories, this one began with someone getting sacked. That someone was Eric Siebert, Halligan's predecessor at the U.S. Attorney in as the U.S. Attorney in Eastern Virginia, who was removed or forced to resign last month. I'm sorry, I have a terrible cough. I smoked for many years. I vaped for many more. I have pretty bad COPD. I'm sorry that that's there, but it's there. So, again, if someone, master editor, wants to take my coughs out, please do. They're going to make me look like I have teeth. They can do that too. I hopefully will get those eventually. It just hasn't been a priority. Alright, so Eric Siebert was forced to resign last month. According to multiple reports, Siebert had raised doubts that the evidence was strong enough to pursue criminal charges against two of President Trump's longtime adversaries. New York Attorney New York Attorney General Letitia James, who won a civil fraud verdict against the Trump Organization, and former FBI Director James Comey, who Trump had fired during his first term in office and had long blamed for the so-called Russiagate investigation. Okay, there needs to be more clarity about this investigation because it's so old now, but I followed it every step. And they made up, of course, the Republicans, they're always making this stuff up to try to distract. But what happened was Russia specifically tried to help Trump in 2016. And were they successful? Were they not? Were they really, did they make a difference in the election? I can tell you that everybody thought Hillary was going to win and then suddenly she lost. Just like everybody thought Kamala would win and then suddenly she lost. Now, in that case, Trump did say that, he has the greatest guys working on those computers, those election computers in Pennsylvania, and everybody just kind of, that's just Trump talking. That's not him admitting to another crime, because he admits to crimes every day. He admits to crimes every time he lies to you and says that he's following the Constitution. He admits to crimes. The guy wakes up, lies, commits crimes. That's what he does. He lies, he commits crimes, and he profits off of it because, again, led people to an insurrection. He inspired those people. He said, go fight like hell, go this, go that. Then he sat back, didn't call him off for almost 3 hours. The guy is guilty of insurrection, and insurrection should be punished by being hung by the neck until dead. If they had punished everyone that fought for the South, the country would be better. And that's where we're at again. We're at a Civil War point. We're at a point where if the maggots get their way, there's going to have to be a civil war. If they don't get their way, they're probably going to start a civil war. So I just keep on seeing bloodshed before this is over. and seeing the Attorney General of Arizona with the lawsuit, she's right. She's right. She needs to sue the Speaker of the House and the entire Republican Congress, the entire Republican-led Congress, because they will not swear in a dutifully elected official. A dutifully elected representative to Congress that represents over 800,000 people in Arizona. They will not swear her in. Anyway, back to the article. According to multiple reports, Siebert had raised doubts that the evidence was strong enough to pursue criminal charges against two of President Trump's longtime adversaries. This is the attorney he fired. New York Attorney General Letitia James, who won a civil fraud verdict. Okay, I read that already. The Russiagate thing. For years, Trump has publicly said that Comey and James should be punished for something. But Siebert reportedly balked at the idea of bringing criminal charges that he thought lacked merit. After news of his objections surfaced in the press, he abruptly departed. The fallout was swift. That weekend, in the wake of Siebert's departure, Trump went on a social media tirade, demanding that the Attorney General Pam Bondi move swiftly to prosecute his perceived foes. They're all guilty as hell, Trump wrote of Comey and James in a September 20th Truth Social post, which, according to the Wall Street Journal, may have been intended as a private message. Justice must be served now. That private message started with Pam. Pam. He was talking to Pam Bondi, director of the Department of Justice, and telling her to prosecute people. That, you can't do that. The sitting president cannot tell the Department of Justice to prosecute somebody. Now, they lied all throughout Biden's term. They said, the Biden Justice Department is pursuing Trump. It's not the Biden Justice Department. He might be able to appoint some people there. Totally independent agency. It's a nonpartisan agency. Trump committed crimes. They went after him for the crimes that he had committed. The people that Trump is pursuing have not committed crimes. He's saying mortgage fraud. The Letitia James mortgage fraud case is so funny because if she actually is guilty of what they claim she is, which she's not, it was a paperwork mess up. You ever sign, you buy a house and you sign all that paperwork, you don't know what the fuck you're signing, There was a piece of paperwork that had something wrong on it. The maximum benefit she could gain from that was like $60 a month. So over the course of that 10-year, 20-year loan, whatever it was, she gained like 12 grand over 30 years. And it's ludicrous because it's like if you took a couple of dollars and put it in a savings account, you would gain that much over 30 years. It was just a mistake in the paperwork. But that's the big case they're pursuing against her. You know, Trump makes sure people die every day and don't pursue any of that shit. So there was no case. And Trump said justice must be served now, all in caps. By the following Monday morning, Trump had installed a new top prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia, Halligan, his former personal attorney, who until now had never prosecuted a case. Went to law school, never prosecuted a case. Despite her lack of prosecutorial experience, and reportedly against the urging of veteran prosecutors in her office, Halligan pressed forward. Within days of her arrival, she secured an indictment against Comey for false statements to Congress and obstruction. 2 weeks after that, she persuaded a separate grand jury to indict James for mortgage fraud. This is around when I entered the picture, on Saturday, October 11th. So this is Anna. Until she texted me, I'd spent much of that morning catching up on news stories about the case Halligan brought against James, which had just been handed up on Thursday, October 9th. The indictment accuses the New York Attorney General of misrepresenting how she intends to use a Norfolk, Virginia property when she applied for a loan to purchase it back in 2020. Specifically, prosecutors say that she told lenders the property would be used as a second home, when in reality she used it as a rental investment property, renting the property to a family of 3. By misrepresenting the purpose of the property, the indictment alleges James was able to obtain a more favorable mortgage rate. While many commentators ridiculed the case, a few were quick to proclaim that Halligan had an airtight case against James. There's always some, right-wing idiot that thinks the law isn't the law. I was decidedly amongst the skeptics. Putting aside the apparently retaliatory nature of the charges, it wasn't clear to me that the facts alleged in the indictment amounted to a crime at all. The mortgage agreement James signed, which used standard Fannie Mae language, required her to treat the property as a second home, mandating that she keep it available for her personal use. The agreement explicitly allowed James to rent the home after 1 year of ownership and allowed occasional renting within the first year. So really, just on the face of it, there's not even a plausible argument here. I'm going to smoke. I'm going to sit here for a moment. Light up with me. Once again, this is dark cocoa cake. Dark cocoa cake from Green Dragon, Smoking Politics, baby. Surprise. Subscribe to my videos. Like my videos. Comment. Again, ask me about anything. And literally, I want to do products. I think that would be fun, just to review shit. And I know a little bit of everything. So anything you want to send me, I'll review. Anything that's not too obscure and I have no idea. Don't send me a set of andirons. I'll use them with the campfire, but I don't really need a set of andirons. I like tools. I'm a big Milwaukee junkie. So if you want to send me any kind of Milwaukee, I will review it. Any other power tools, if you want me to put them up against my Milwaukee, I'll do some tests. So I have been dying to try something from Metabo, because I know Metabo was kind of taken over and blah, 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 but Metabo was sold at Lowe's, and I went into Lowe's, and I was going to buy, they had one of the, starter packs, 2 batteries, and a tool, and I was going to buy a jigsaw in there, and I stood around waiting for them to find me this special deal where I could get the two batteries, and then the jigsaw was sitting right there. That was going to be free with the 2 batteries. They had no 2 battery kits after dicking me around for 45 minutes. So the next time I was in Home Depot, I wound up buying one from Ryobi that was the same price, and it's Ryobi and it's Home Depot, and fuck Lowe's. Again, Metabo, If Metabo wants to send to me directly, I used to sell Metabo at Fastenal way back in the day. I've had a million different jobs. I'll probably wind up mentioning all my different jobs, but let me get back to the politics and the smoke. Oh, that's right, I was going to smoke. So, Green Dragon, best dispensary in Florida, and this is dark cocoa cake. Dark cocoa cake, pretty good feeling strain. I'm digging it. So smoke with me. The Florida air. Also, I like smoking a little tobacco in my bowl just because it smooths the smoke. Believe it or not, I'd cough worse with straight weed. And that I ran out of my blue tobacco. I have to go get some more, and I'm smoking this stuff that is like this super strong. It's called Four Brothers, and it's really good if you like a pipe full of tobacco. You know, that's really bold. I guess I do smoke pipes. I love cigars. I'm definitely becoming a cigar snob because I don't really. I'll smoke the cheap ones that I buy, just, you know, as a dog walker or whatever. But man, I like a good cigar. And it's so funny because I quit drinking 5 years ago, and this is just turning into a personal journal video. But yeah, after quitting five years ago, I never was really that much into like the cigar. I was a whiskey drinker back in the day, and I'm glad I stopped that because I'd be dead already. And then I was a beer drinker, and beer and cigars just never seemed to go together. And beer was, you know, the only thing I could drink slowly. I never liked to mix drink. I just, if I always liked whiskey, and if I got whiskey, man, it was either straight or on the rocks, depending. You know, Scotch, Irish, always on the rocks. Bourbon, always straight, but not shooting. You know, sipping whiskey. But I'm glad I got away from alcohol, because alcohol is poison. I throw it on the ground like the Lonely Island tune. Man, I think I'm going to take another drag of that. I'm just an old guy, and I don't give a shit. If you think I look silly on camera, whatever. I'm not a bigot. I'm not too Bob. I'm not the white devil. I'm a super liberal. Married to a super liberal, and she and I are doing our thing with her puppy and stuff. Oh shit, my monitor just turned off here. I do have to get back to reading this. I'm dying to see these text exchanges, so I'm not trying to make you watch forever. Skip ahead if you want to get to the text exchanges. Just please watch. I've tried so desperately to write. I've been told I write pretty eloquently, and I've tried to write on Facebook and get people to hear me. And I just, nobody listens. Nobody's interested. I've made every post public. You can see I'm Jeff Niblock on Facebook. You can look me up. All my shit's public. Super duper liberal firebrand. I don't care for the police. I don't care for the military. I don't care for any of this fascist state. So that's me. Smoking politics with Jeff Niblock and Freya Dog. And again, I'd love collaborators. I would love anybody to watch my stuff and to be interested. The one that got me really into this, this is going to diverge. I'll talk about this article. I'll read the whole thing and talk about it another time probably. But some of these guys, some of these people that are being interviewed on the major like networks. I know network television is going away, but it is still the thing the old people watch. So it does still have a significance. I mean, like Colbert leaving network. he'll wind up somewhere else and we'll watch him. But it's just not the same as being the guy that was hosting their Tonight Show on that show, on that channel, like Letterman. It's the end of an era when Letterman left. He left of his own accord, and they can't prove currently that Colbert was forced out. And again, Colbert, Kimmel, any of you guys, Jon Stewart, Seth Meyers, anybody that has a public audience and has a voice, run for office and explain to the public, you're not qualified. You're not qualified to be the president, but that's perfect. And you don't want it, and that's perfect. You will surround yourself with the best experts and let them tell you how it should run. It shouldn't be one person making the decision. You might be an expert on just about everything. I'll tell you what, what am I an expert on? I'm pretty good at guitar setups. Let's say that kind of thing, or soldering. I can definitely solder my ass off, and I can do electrical troubleshooting. I can do stuff like that. But I cannot do heart surgery. So if I was in a position where someone needs to do heart surgery, I'm going to get a heart surgeon. And if you guys, one of you winds up in the presidency, let's take over the country. Let's take over the country, the celebrities, take it over, and hire people that know what the fuck they're doing. Because the thing is, the president doesn't directly do anything. He delegates a lot. But get a cabinet where the cabinet knows what the hell they're doing. Stephen Colbert, I would love to cast my vote for you as president. And I know you don't know shit about nuclear arms. But I'm sure you will get a guy in that room that knows shit about nuclear arms and has experience for decades. And I'm sure you will put real leadership back at the Department of Justice, at the Department of Defense, not war. You will stop the joke that is renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, that's so silly. Fascist regimes always got to rename shit. I'm dying to know what this article says. You want me to skim and why don't we just skip and we'll read the text exchange. She has the whole thing. Well, it's in pieces. Let's read the interesting little pieces that are highlighted. New York Times reports that Letitia James' great niece lives in the home that is the subject of the indictment. The niece reportedly testified that before a different grand jury, telling them that she had lived there for many years without paying rent. So that's a second home. If her daughter is living there, her niece. But again, a family member is not paying rent. That's a second home. Anyway, it says several times a year, the people said a great aunt who had purchased the house in 2020 with Ms. Thompson in mind would come for an extended stay. So that means she had also satisfied the loan that she had the house available for her use. Ms. Thompson testified in a grand jury in Norfolk that she had lived in the house for years and that she did not pay rent. I don't know what the point they're making here. Regularly. I'm not seeing... I'm going to have to read through the whole thing. I thought she was going to have the whole text exchange, but she obviously can't. Maybe all the way at the bottom. That's a long article. I'll put a link to the article that I'm reading, and then I'll put a follow-up video, because I'm gonna, my voice is tired. I talked about a lot of other things, but, this is important. This lunacy where a signal chat is leaked with military plans, and then a signal chat that has thousands upon thousands of bigoted messages, and nobody's being held responsible for that. Oh, boys will be boys, says Shady Vance, the couch fucker. I mean, it's just so easy that you can put an eggplant and a couch, and it's the couch fucker, J.D. Vance. I know he didn't really fuck a couch, but He looks like the type that would fuck a couch, doesn't he? So anyway, I'm going to leave you with another smoke. And that's all I got for tonight. My voice is tired. Hopefully I get rid of this cough eventually. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Share it anywhere. Please share me, because I'm really hoping to attract the attention. And I will talk about the guys that have inspired me. Well, first of all, Brian Tyrell Cohen. And then now, the Bulwark. Sarah Longwell at the Bulwark, especially George Conway explains it all to Sarah. Great segment, just because it's Conway, who is a conservative, not, I'm a liberal, but he's a conservative, but he's a real lawyer, and he believes in the Constitution, he believes in the United States. That's why I assume why he wound up having to divorce that lying bitch wife of his. But yeah, Kellyanne Conway, remember? Kellyanne Conway is the originator of the, well, you have your facts and we have our alternative facts. No, bitch, there are no alternative facts. Kellyanne Conway, those are lies. Alternative facts are lies. It's spin. It's what you're trying to express. And Kellyanne Conway, for your expression of, well, you have your facts and we have our alternative facts, I am going to call you cunt of the decade. Cunt of the decade, to try to say that your lies are alternative facts. Like, I have a 12-inch cock. It's an alternative fact. I have millions of dollars. That is most assuredly an alternative fact. So when Kellyanne Conway talks about alternative facts, she means everything Trump ever says is an alternative fact. He said we brought in $17 trillion in tariffs from Canada in the past couple of months. That's more than half of their GDP. How'd they manage that? And they're still eating. It's lies. So alternative facts, cunt of the decade, Kellyanne Conway. But I love listening to George Conway explain it all to Sarah Longwell. Also, Midas Touch Network. Ben, I enjoy you. I like what you say, but you're a little wordy and your headlines are just... I know you're doing the headline to attract attention, but it's just, oh, Trump caught in act. No, Trump's evil henchmen caught in act. Trump's never caught. He's a supervillain from a comic book. He's always in the shadows and he never gets caught. And until he gets caught, this churn will never stop until this ends. And I don't know if we need to re-educate people, if we need to separate into two separate countries. Very plausible, very doable. And, you'd have to set up a relocation program where the people can be in the country they want to be in. The only thing is, if you want to keep any of the people in the red states, you'd probably have to put up walls like they did in Berlin, because fuck the policies of the red states. The red states say, if you have no money, fuck you. If you have no power, fuck you. If you're just an American citizen, fuck you. If you're here and you have no papers, fuck you, because we're Nazis. So, yeah, this is just a rant. Go read this article. I'm off air. I am going to post the link in the comments. But the basic just the idea is, this new attorney that's never prosecuted a case that Trump appointed to a second interim, which is not even really legal, and they still are talking about the legal ramifications of that, because you can't have another 120 days of interim. You're supposed to use that time to actually get somebody the Congress would approve of, and Trump will not try to, the Congress won't approve of these idiots that he's putting in place. Kegzeth is just an old alcoholic that he's role playing as if he's a general. He's like, oh, I'm in charge of the Department of War. I can't call it the Department of Defense. It's now the Department of War, because we're going to make war on people and commit war crimes. Every boat that they hit in Venezuela, everyone in the administration that was involved in that will eventually be prosecuted for war crimes one way or another in an international court. Trump is already guilty of war crimes just like Netanyahu, and that's why they're buddies. Putin is guilty of war crimes. Again, that's why they're buddies. That guy in Hungary, Viktor Orban, guilty of war crimes. They're buddies, and he's the one that's promoting that. That's the Christian nationalists. So if you look at Hungary and you look at their fake elections and you look at the fact that it's not actually a democracy, that is what Trump and his people want. Fuck that. So from a stoner perspective, if you enjoy some politics, man, Smoking Politics with Jeff Niblock. Like and subscribe. This cough. Woo. If anybody's got any remedy, I feel it's here, it's up here, and then I have chest congestion. Any remedy, I've been taking like the Robitussin, and now I just took the pseudoephedrine. I don't know, but Smoking Politics, baby. Man, that Four Brothers tobacco is strong and harsh, but man, I love that nicotine hit with the THC hit. It just bumps it. And it doesn't make me dumb. It just makes me want to talk and get down, to the heart of the matter. As Don Henley too, get down to the heart of the matter. But man, I wish Americans weren't so fucking stupid. I mean, Carlin used to say, think of the average person you know. Then think of the fact that half of the people in the world are dumber than that. That's what average means. So think of your average friend. Half of the people are dumber than that. I have literally talked to people who, they're good at what they do. They're good at working with their hands or whatever they do, and they claim not to listen to Fox News, but what they listen to is at least as bad, if not worse. And they have these lies embedded in their heads, especially about the religion. Like the Kirk thing threw me for a loop. And that's why I mention it so much. And once again, I always say, political violence has no place in a civilized society. I need to make sure I say that all the time, because someone's eventually going to say, you were calling for the assassin. No. I'm not calling for anybody to be shot or killed. I am calling for the rule of law to indict, arrest, try people that have committed crimes. I don't care what fucking political affiliation you are. That's not what this is about. I happen to vote Democrat for the same reason that Bernie Sanders caucuses with the Democrats. The Democrats are more in my direction than the Republicans, but they're nowhere near where I want to be. And believe me, I will never, ever support any criminal just walking away because they got money. And that's what Trump did. He walked away because he had money. And he must have dirt. Because if they're hiding these Epstein files, that's what I'm convinced of. The Epstein files are so full of all of these members of Congress. Did you notice that all the decent members of Congress, all of the decent Republicans that you could have a talk with, Adam Kinzinger, rising conservative star, I was looking forward to seeing him argue his conservative case. Even though I disagree with him on policy, we agree on America and democracy. And they drove him out. Liz Cheney, daughter of Dick Cheney, she and I disagree on everything except for democracy, except for the rule of law, except for the Constitution of the United States. So it's just the ones that are now in there are all Trump's handpicked people that he placed into the Republican Party. and it just feels like that's the whole Epstein list. I mean, there's not a broke motherfucker up there. A broke motherfucker is AOC. AOC, when she got to Congress, she couldn't afford to rent an apartment in D.C. until she had a paycheck. That's a real person. That's of the people. Bernie has millions now. Bernie did very well for himself. That's what people do in capitalist societies. If people like your product, they like what you're saying, they'll pay money for your books and things like that. So Bernie has money now, but he didn't come from money. Bernie protested, chained himself to things, and protested through the 60s and 70s and rose the right way. He is of the people and for the people, as is AOC. And that's who we need more of. The maggot sycophants that have been put in place, these people that all they do is vote Trump. I mean, he just pardoned that guy that's a blatant criminal. The guy confessed. He admitted that he had stolen identities. He had done all of the things. George Santos. He had done all of these things. Trump just pardoned him. Only public reason given was he was smart enough to always vote Republican. So, is that the reason for a presidential pardon? Not that you weren't guilty or there are mitigating circumstances. No, you're guilty as fuck. But you always voted Republican. That is putting party before country, and that is un-American as fuck. So fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you, traitorous Mike Johnson. Fuck you, J.D. Vance. I know you know which way the wind blows, and you've been very successful at, Peter Thiel. You obviously paid for you to enter into politics. Peter Thiel has you as a stooge there. We know this. Everybody knows this. It's so funny because people say, like, actual news doesn't still exist. Facts still exists. Actual news still exists. You just have to go looking for it. I'm saddened by my fellow Americans because I just feel like you're spoon-fed bullshit and you believe it because you want to, because you see in Trump's hate your own hate. He is such a bigot. He is so bad that no matter who you hate, he hates them too. I just wish you could see that America is not about hate. America is about love. America is about getting away from hate. About getting away from where some people are better than other people. Some people being better than other people is what leads to hate. And the immigrant is being used by the maggots in the same way that the Jew was used by the Nazis. I could go on about that, and I probably will do a whole I could do hours on exactly how classifying anyone in a society as an other is the first step towards the end of democracy. Had the South been able to keep their slaves, or had slavery continued to expand in the United States, that would have brought about the fall of democracy, because they would have made certain that there were enough slave states to where they would have been able to take over the government, much like the maggot movement has done. So I'm going to leave at that. A little bit of ramblings. I'll get back to that article and discuss it more. Love you all. See ya.